The Competition Commission has launched an investigation into the price of essential food products as consumers have been dealing with what it calls opportunistic price increases. The Commission's work to date on food prices has pointed to concerning price behaviour by both retailers and wholesalers. It says this inquiry will examine whether there are any features in the production value chain which negatively impact the competitiveness of fresh produce, that particular market. Joining us to unpack this further is Kagiso Zwane. He's an economist at the Competition Commission. Thank you very much for taking the time, Kagiso. And let's start with the findings of that report, this being the Essential Food Pricing Monitoring Report, finding that there are a little bit rather a few anomalies in terms of pricing. We do know that inflation has had an impact on the price of food, but what is it that raised your eyebrows as the Commission, and what exactly is it that you're going to be looking at in this investigation?
Thank you for having me. Like you said, what we have found are anomalies that warrant further probing. So since the beginning of the pandemic, the Commission has been monitoring the price of essential foods and doing so at two levels, that is the retail level and the wholesale level. And in a nutshell, what we are finding across many groups of foods is a divergence between the retail price and the wholesale price. So there's a bigger difference essentially between what is on the shelf that consumers pay for and what is a reasonable proxy for what retailers might pay for that good, the cost price. And then similarly at the wholesale level, where we're able to do so, such as in the case of sunflower oil or maize, we see another divergence or decoupling between the price of that primary agricultural input. So, for example, in the case of sunflower oil, that would be sunflower seed, and the wholesale and retail price of cooking oil. So this for us is a cause for concern because it says that the major cost driver is becoming less important over time, which could indicate opportunistic pricing in an inflationary context, a real risk in South Africa where markets are concentrated, as well as legitimate concerns around prices and cost pressures coming from other parts of the value chain. But this is something that warrants investigation because consumers are under pressure. And this is a country with high poverty levels, high unemployment levels. And so the cost of food increasing has got far-reaching welfare implications in South Africa.
Indeed, Kagiso, and you've just referenced cooking oil and brown bread, but white bread, the report also shows that between January and December 2022, it rose by 20%, which is very worrying. So what are some of the other foodstuffs that have seen gross increases over the period that you're reporting on?
Right, so as you say, cooking oil is one, both breads and maize meal. So those are the staples that we track. And we also track fruits and vegetables, which haven't shown as pronounced an increase, but wide seasonal fluctuations and variations, something that the Fresh Produce Market Inquiry will be probing. And we chose these goods precisely because they are such an important part of the consumption basket of everyday South Africans. In this report, we also then do a deep dive into poultry, focusing on IQF, individually quick frozen chicken pieces, which is commonly known as the braai pack. This is the most widely consumed protein in the country. I think it accounts for about 60% of chicken consumption, and chicken being the most popular protein source. Interestingly there, however, we see a less pronounced inflationary trend. That is to say that chicken prices have not increased to the same extent as other food prices, but they have increased in the region of 10–11%. And our explanation for that, or a potential explanation for that, is the role that imports might have played in bringing into the country lower cost chicken pieces that then filters down to the retail level and constrains the increase of this very important staple good.
So how long is this investigation going to take? Or maybe let's rather answer when do you anticipate the investigation will be concluded, and some of the consequences that some of these retailers and wholesalers will face should they be found wanting when it comes to price increases that they instituted, whether it be at production level or at retail level?
Thank you. So the investigation is ongoing and nearing its tail end. So we hope to be able to wrap that up with the parties involved quite soon. And in terms of consequences, the Act prescribes an administrative penalty of up to 10% of revenue in the case of a contravention in terms of pricing as well as collusion. But in terms of collusion, if we were to find evidence that there's some sort of market allocation agreement to price fix, etc., then there's also criminal liability for the personnel involved.
Thank you very much for your time, Kagiso Zwane, economist at the Competition Commission there, speaking about an investigation into the price of food and the consequences of retailers and wholesalers that are found to have been inflating the price of basic food more than they should be.